Thank you. Well, like most of the other witnesses who have been testifying before your committee, or commission, I am in favor of a constitutional convention. And there are many reasons why, but one of the main reasons is something that was said by a previous witness, that there's a need for checks and balances. And that's one of the foundations of our system of government. There's a need for checks and balances. You can't have the same people in charge of everything. Somebody has to be watching them to keep them honest. And that's one thing that a constitutional convention does. If there are measures that, for whatever reason, the elected officials are reluctant to pass because they have a conflict of interest, or for any other reason, then it is possible if there are measures that will improve government, that will clean up government, that the elected officials are reluctant to pass, then as a last resort, we have the Constitutional Convention. It's a way to ensure that we have a cleaner government when clean government measures cannot pass through the General Assembly. And we desperately need that. I mean, there has to be accountability. The accountability can't just be the state police raiding this state house. There has to be a better form of accountability. And that's what a constitutional convention is about. That's its function. And it may sound like I'm just saying filler, just saying things that don't mean much, but this is actually the core of this actually goes to the core of the Commission's work. One of the core things that the Commission has to do is bring up what a constitutional convention is for and make clear that a constitutional convention is there as a check and balance in order to serve the purpose of accountability. So I hope that's one thing that you will touch on. So I understand you're going to produce a report. I understand that maybe part of it may be in the voter handbook, but I would like you to mention that the important constitutional role of a convention, which is to establish accountability on ethics matters when the legislature does not act because they have a conflict of interest. And finally, I would also say that voters also have a responsibility. We've been talking, a lot of advocates of the convention have been talking about voters' rights, but voters also have a responsibility, and they're going to be asked an important question in November: should we have a convention or should we not? And that's their choice to make. It's not the Commission's choice, it's the voters' choice to make. But the voters do have the responsibility to take that choice carefully, because there is going to be a huge election campaign about this referendum. I know a lot of money has already been raised to oppose the Constitutional Convention. Nothing, as far as I know, has been, or hardly anything has been raised for the Constitutional Convention. A good deal less, to be precise, a good deal less has been raised for the Constitutional Convention. But a lot of money has been raised against it, and there are going to be advertisements on both sides. And voters have a responsibility not to be swayed by these advertisements, but to actually seek out credible, independent sources of information, and to seek out both sides of the issues, because there are two sides of these issues. I wouldn't want people to just listen to one side, even if it's my side. I would want people to listen to both sides. So one thing that's important to remind voters is to remind them of this responsibility to seek out information about the pros and cons of these issues, because they do have a solemn responsibility. And our system, just as our system works better when you have ethics in government, our system works better when voters are reminded of their solemn responsibility. And that is one of the tasks of this commission, which I hope this commission will fulfill. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall. Are there any questions? Thank you very much.